Somebody asked me that the other day. The started with Marcus Evans in June of 2020, right after the pandemic, and it was initially a virtual one, and that was rough. Virtual meetings are rough, but we did meet one client there that we connected with and stayed in front of, and 2.5 years later, they started to use us, and they become go-to for us. They use us regularly, and so how many clients have we gotten from it, and how many summits have we been to? I'm going to guess we've been to, off the top of my head, somewhere between 6 and 7 or 8 summits. I've lost track. I haven't counted them. I think 3 in the U.S., 4 here in Europe, and 1 in Japan. So it may be 7 or 8. The number of clients, if I were to guess off the top of my head, I think it's 11 or 12. Some are small, some are big. What I would like to see, to be honest with you, is while we're getting business from it, I haven't landed any business where it's been repeat lots of business. The one I just mentioned 2.5 years ago, that looks like that may turn into that. The attorney that's working with them met with them for dinner in New York last night and said they're transferring a bunch of work to us. So we'll see what happens. So when we get the list with the profiles of the companies and the more detailed profiles from the people that are attending with their background and what they're looking for, the first thing I do is run a conflict check. I'm not going to waste time studying somebody that we can't work for. So we run conflict checks on everybody. The next thing I do is I then email that list with all the people that we're meeting with to the entire firm. And I say, anybody know anybody in this firm? And any connections in the company or connections with this person so that we can leverage that. I then run all those names through LinkedIn and see if I know anybody that knows anybody so I can get a warm introduction of some sort or a warm reference. Those are just the basic things. Then once we get the information and that forth, I'll read their information carefully. I'll usually look at their website to get a feel for what they're doing. I'll try to learn a little bit about the person who I'm meeting with, try to get something about not just who they are as a business person, but if I can find something personal about them that I can bring up in the meetings, that's always good to do for bonding and rapport, as they say. That's about it. The first rule is 70-30. You want them talking 70% of the time, you want to be talking 30% of the time. So I prefer to have them talk first. And I usually ask them to talk about themselves first, like who they are, what they do, what their history is, what the company is, and we go through all of those situations to start. That's always a tough one. I struggle with that one all the time because what makes me different from the next guy, we're all good. I always view, as the lawyers go, being good is table stakes. That gets you into the game. So that's a given from my perspective. Everybody in this room is good, so how do I differentiate myself? Well, first of all, we're really responsive. We get back to you immediately, so you don't have to worry about whether you're being served adequately or not. And then the other thing we do is we make sure we understand the business. It's not just doing patent work. How does the patents fit into their business, and how do you process them so that it maximizes the best things for the business? Well, sometimes it's easy. Sometimes they just say, hey, we want to talk further. This has been great. We've learned some things from you. And can we set up a time to have another call? We did a couple of those at this summit. It's not always a great match. Sometimes there's no immediate need. It's not something for years down the road. So you have to understand when you come here, you can't expect to walk out the door with business that evening or 6 months from now. It's a process. So what I normally try to do is look for pain. And I try to ask them questions about, where do they need help? What's their big struggles in their position? What are their challenges? And then see if I can help them in that way. And if I can't help them, maybe I know somebody that can help them. That is something I'm just starting to do at Andrew's suggestion. And so we did do that a bit in this session, and we got a couple of meetings set up already. That's new. I haven't been that pushy in the past. I find that most of the time when we have these meetings and we follow up with emails and check in with people, we've had a good meeting and we expect some response. They're usually pretty responsive. It's rarely that I get ghosted by the people I meet here. So you have to understand that this is not just about the one-on-one meetings. Right? The networking time during the breaks, lunches, and dinner are just as valuable as the one-on-one meetings. And why do I say that? Because we work those areas of the room as well and try to meet people who are not having one-on-one meetings. And sometimes there's people in the list that I want to meet with that I don't get a one-on-one meeting with. And Marcus Evans is good about putting pictures on the agendas, so I know who they are. And I've been guilty of stalking some people in my lifetime at these meetings. So I will say that what my experience is when you talk about return on the investment, when I look at how much are we getting back from one-on-one versus how much we're getting back from networking, it's about 50-50, believe it or not. You're getting half the work from the one-on-ones and half of it from networking. I don't go to all the presentations, to be honest with you. I go back and deal with email. But if I'm having a one-on-one meeting with somebody that's presenting, I always go to that. And if there's somebody I've met that I think is maybe a good connection and they're presenting, I'll go back to that too. I even try to ask a question.